Hi, welcome back to a new video interview. Today, as our guest, we have Gabby DiSalvo. Hello, Gabby. How are
Hi,
you?
everyone. Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine, good. Thanks. Gabby, what's your disability or diagnosis?
So, my diagnosis is myofibrillar myopathy. This is a rare genetic low muscle tone condition that I was born with. In simple terms, it basically just means that every single muscle in my entire body is about 16 times weaker than the typical person's muscles would be.
Okay, so it affects every bone on your every muscle on your body, or it's like in more in the top and less at the bottom, or it affects your whole body.
It affects my entire body. So, the muscles in my arms, the muscles in my legs, the muscles in my core, the muscles has is affected by this condition.
Okay. Do you have to deal with any chronic pain and stuff?
So I don't know if it's officially considered chronic pain, but I do have pain quite often with that. Sometimes the weather can affect like my muscles and things like that that can cause them to feel weaker or achy. It really just depends on the day and like what I had done like previous days, what I have going on like just in my life in general.
Yeah, like weather and or stress and anything else.
Right.
Do you use mobility aids? If so, how do they help you? And have you always used them?
So throughout my life, I've used a few different mobility aids. When I was younger, I was able to walk a little bit more. Is so uh, as a child, I was able to walk, but it would be in like kind of a swaying motion. So I would shift my weight more drastically than the typical able-bodied person would be walking. So this caused me to develop scoliosis. So prior and while the scoliosis was developing, I was able to use a walker. I had to have a spinal fusion surgery, which is where
Mhm.
they fuse the spine with two rods to walk in that swaying motion. So I then used a wheelchair full time at that point. So I have multiple wheelchairs. I have a manual wheelchair with a power assist called a smart drive. And then I also now in college that I had just gotten like right before college, I was able to get a power wheelchair. So that has been like an amazing, amazing feature to have for college, like to get to my classes, get around campus, keep up with my friends. So I have a few different mobility aids that I've used.
Yeah, it just depends on your mobility and your strength in your body and stuff like that, right?
Right. Yep, that's exactly right.
What are some of the struggles you face on a daily basis that are specifically related to your disability? Involves physical, mental, source, pressure source, or whatever you wanna tell.
So, for me, because my body has to work like I said, 16 times harder essentially than the typical person, I tend to get tired a lot more often.
Mm-hmm.
So this can even affect simple things, but it could also affect a little bit more major things like um trying to think of an example. So like when I have to take a test, say, if it's like a really big test like finals or say like my SATs, when I had to take those, I had an accommodation for an extended time because my body physically gets more tired a lot more quickly. So it allowed me to kind of have like that break in between to be able to rest a little bit more and to not have to be like rushing the entire time like the typical person would have to be during a big exam like that. So things like that are caused by my conditions. So it changes like the way that I do things like that versus the able-bodied people, I guess if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Depending on how you feel.
Right.
What is a story that you could share about your disability or diagnosis?
What do you
Like it can involve
mean?
bullying
Like, can you be a
or
little more specific?
any story that you wanna share with us.
Um, I guess I could share like, so it took me a very long time to learn how to accept my disability. So I guess I could explain a little bit of that. That would be my story if we want to share it. So in eighth grade, of my, so this was 10 years at the same middle school that I basically had grown up at. Um, there I was, I was walking. I used a walker there. I was in a wheelchair there. All these different moments of my life happened while in that school. And I was a few months away from graduation. This was around like January or so, and we graduated in like May or June.
Mm-hmm.
And I had realized that I never spoke about my disability. I kind of really hid it because it wasn't something at the time that I really was proud of. It was something that I didn't want anything to do with. I didn't want anyone seeing it. It was to the point that in pictures, I'd want to get out of my wheelchair and sit in a regular chair because I didn't want anyone to see my wheelchair, like it was some kind of secret, which it wasn't because obviously everyone saw it and it wasn't something I should have hid. But at the time, that's how I felt.
You were
So
shy.
anyways, exactly, I was shy about it, right? So in my eighth grade year, that like I said, it was like January right before graduation, like prepping for all that. I decided, like, I don't know, something clicked in my head and was like, we should do a fundraiser. And I wanted to originally do for just for myofibrillar myopathy. But through my research, I actually found out that there was such a thing. Disease was rare, but I didn't know like the specifics of it or anything. As I kind of found out more information about it from my parents and like research and all that, I basically found out that, so I was diagnosed in 2006, but I was born in 2004. 2006, it was like told to my parents from like the doctor who diagnosed me that there were only 3 recorded cases of my condition found in children, which is what makes it so extremely rare. And I'm actually one of the only patients or children, like for example, like patients might have had some kind of neurological condition, or they could have had a heart condition, or just really anything like that. That basically made it very different. So I was extremely rare in that case because I was the only one with the condition with no other uh, diagnoses. Um, and that was diagnosed at birth as a child that I was experiencing symptoms because normally you experience symptoms around like 40 or 50 years of age. But anyways, that was a little bit of a tangent. I apologize. But
Don't worry.
I learned I learned how rare my condition was because of all of this. And so I brought it to my school. I worked with the National Junior Honor Society that I was a part of. And I basically spoke to them and I said, look, I really want to do a fundraiser before I graduate. I want to do a rare disease fundraiser because I have a rare disease and I want to raise awareness for people like me. So from there, I organized a fundraiser with a bunch of my friends and, like I said, the National Junior Honor Society. And that year, we actually raised $10,000 for the Global
Whoa.
Genes Foundation. Yeah, it was a huge, huge accomplishment and a huge just moment in my life because it felt so amazing, like to just be able to like kind of share that part of me with everyone. I made a speech to the whole school. This was like probably about 500 people I made a speech to, which was it was really cool. It was a little scary, but I honestly I loved every minute of it. That it really like kind of ignited. In total, I've raised about $35,000 for the Global Genes Foundation with so many different donors and so much help from friends, family, different companies. I even had Rachel Ray, the famous television personality chef. She donated $10,000 to one of my fundraisers a couple years ago, which was like a huge, huge moment for me. And I'm forever grateful for literally every donation that anyone has given. It's an amazing thing. Um, so the story is basically that I learned how to accept my disability and learned to not hide it because look at everything that it gave me and everything for me. So that was a very long story, but that was my story.
And you basically get to gain a lot of money to for the investigation of your own condition. So I think that's awesome.
Technically, yes. So it gets donated, like I said, to the Global Genes Foundation. They focus on funding research for cures as well, but they also focus on connecting like families to other families with the same condition or similar conditions. They connect doctors to patients. They can connect uh, I don't know, patients to patients. Like they focus not just on cures, but they also focus on making those connections amongst other people, which is something I really love about them. That it gives like that opportunity for this connection amongst each other, and it's not just about a cure.
And yeah, and that makes you not to feel so alone, that you have other
Right.
people like
Exactly.
doctors or other patients with the same condition that knows how you feel.
Right, exactly. Because growing up, I really didn't know many disabled people or many people with rare conditions, especially. So for me, I feel like it's really important, like, to be able to create that platform for not only just young kids, but adults and really any person looking for that kind of connection or that might need that, and they might not even know it.
Yeah.